She was auctioned off while still bleeding from birth. One rancher bought her just to give her. The auction block was slick with her blood. Not from a wound. Not from a beating. From birth. Less than an hour old, her baby girl swaddled in a torn flour sack beside her. Cora Bellwether stood barefoot on sun-bleached pine, her shift stained crimson below the waist, her knees trembling not from fear but from the raw, animal ache of a body pushed past breaking. The crowd didn't blink. Men in sweat-stained hats, women clutching baskets like shields, all silent except for the shuffle of boots and the dry cough of a man chewing tobacco. No one looked away. No one offered water. Sheriff Hargrove cleared his throat, tapped the gavel on a whiskey crate, and said, "Next lot, Cora Bellwether, 22, healthy, proven breeder. Starting bid, $10. A coyote howled from the ridge, like it knew what was coming. The baby whimpered. Cora didn't. She stared past the crowd, past the sagging saloon, past the dust devils dancing on the horizon, to where the land turned gold and endless. Her eyes were dry. Hollow. Like wells someone had forgotten to fill. $10. That's what they valued her at. $10 and the afterbirth still cooling in the dirt beneath her feet. A man in a black duster raised a gloved hand. 15. His voice was smooth. Too smooth. Like oil on hot iron. Everyone turned. Even the baby stilled for a breath. Silas Thorne. Tall. Lean. Hair the color of gunmetal, eyes like chips of glacier ice. He didn't smile. Didn't need to. Everyone knew his name. Knew what he owned. Knew what he broke. $20 came from a rancher with yellowed teeth. Silas didn't flinch. 30. The sheriff's gavel hovered. No one else bid. $30. For a woman still leaking life onto the wood. Silas stepped forward, dropped 3 silver coins into the sheriff's palm. They clinked like funeral bells. He didn't touch her. Just nodded toward the buckboard waiting in the shade. Get in. Cora didn't move. Not until he added, quiet as a snake sliding through sagebrush, or I'll drag you. And the brat. She moved. One step. Then another. The boards groaned under her bare feet. The baby cried again, a thin, desperate sound swallowed by the wind. Silas Thorne watched her climb into the wagon like a man watching a storm roll in. He knew what he'd bought. And he knew what he planned to do with it. The buckboard wheels groaned like old bones as they left town. Dust rose in choking clouds, stinging Cora's eyes, coating her lips, settling in the creases of her neck like shame made visible. She held the baby tight against her chest, the tiny heartbeat thudding against her own. Silas didn't speak. Didn't look back. He drove with one hand, the other resting easy on the butt of his Colt. The sun beat down, relentless. No water offered. No blanket. Just the creak of leather, the crunch of gravel, the vast, indifferent sky. Cora's throat burned. Her body screamed. But her mind? Her mind was colder than a winter creek. She memorized the line of his shoulders. The way his thumb tapped the gun grip. The scar running from his temple to his jaw, thin, white, like a crack in porcelain. She'd kill him. Someday. Somehow. Even if it took her last breath. Even if it damned her soul. The baby stirred. Cora pressed her lips to the downy head. For you. Everything for you. They drove until the sun bled orange behind the mesas. Silas pulled up at a lone adobe shack, half swallowed by tumbleweeds. No corral. No well. Just silence and the sigh of the wind through dry grass. He unhitched the horses without a word. Tossed Cora a canteen. It sloshed, heavy with water. She didn't drink. Not yet. Not in front of him. He watched her, those glacier eyes unreadable. "Inside," he said. The door creaked open on rusted hinges. The air inside was thick with dust and mouse droppings. A single cot. A rusted stove. No lamp. He pointed to the cot. "Sleep there. Baby stays with you." Then he turned, walked out, shut the door. Locked it from the outside. The click of the bolt was louder than thunder. Cora sank onto the cot, the baby cradled in her arms. Water. She finally drank, greedy, desperate. It tasted like hope. Or maybe just survival. Outside, Silas Thorne built a fire. The smell of smoke curled under the door. Warm. Inviting. A lie. 3 days passed. Silas brought food, hardtack, dried beef, a wedge of cheese. Water twice a day. Never spoke unless necessary. Eat. Drink. Stay inside. He slept on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, his back to the door. Cora watched him through a crack in the shutter. Watched the rise and fall of his shoulders. Watched the moonlight silver his hair. Watched for weakness. Found none. On the 4th morning, he handed her a bar of lye soap and a bucket. "Wash yourself. Wash the child." Behind the shack. He turned his back. Gave her privacy. A strange mercy. Or a test. Cora scrubbed until her skin burned, the soap stinging the raw places between her legs. She washed the baby gently, whispering nonsense words, promises she wasn't sure she could keep. The water ran pink, then clear. When she came back, Silas was saddling the horse. "We're moving," he said. "To the ranch." He didn't offer a hand. She climbed onto the horse behind him, the baby tucked between them. His back was warm. Solid. She pressed her cheek against it for just a second. Felt the steady beat of his heart. Hated herself for noticing. Hated him more for letting her. The ranch wasn't what she expected. Not a spread of green pastures and white fences. Just a cluster of low buildings huddled against a rocky slope. A barn. A bunkhouse. A main house, 2 stories, its paint long gone, windows like empty eye sockets. Men milled about, hard-faced, silent, eyes sliding away when Silas rode in. No women. No children. Just dust, horses, and the smell of sweat and leather. Silas helped her down. His hand on her waist lingered a fraction too long. "This is home now," he said. Not a question. A sentence. He led her to the house. Up creaking stairs. To a room at the end of a dark hall. A real bed. A wash basin. A window overlooking the corral. "Yours," he said. Then he left. Locked the door again. Cora walked to the window. Below, Silas stood talking to a man with a scarred lip. The man laughed, a harsh, barking sound. Silas didn't. He just nodded, his face grim. What deal had he made? What price had he paid? For her? Or for something else? The baby slept in her arms. Safe. For now. Cora touched the windowpane. Cold. Like his eyes. Weeks bled into months. Cora learned the rhythm of the place. Silas unlocked her door at dawn. She cooked. Cleaned. Mended shirts stiff with grime. He ate at the head of the table, silent, watching her. The men avoided her. Called her the boss's woman. Never said her name. She tended the baby, Lila, she named her, after her own mother, long gone. Taught her to crawl on the rough plank floor. Sang her lullabies her grandmother used to sing. Songs of rivers and rain, things this land had forgotten. Silas never touched her. Not once. Not even a brush of hands passing a plate. He watched. Always watched. Like a hawk circling prey. One evening, she found a book in the bottom drawer of his desk. Poetry. Byron. Pages dog-eared. Lines underlined in pencil. She walks in beauty, like the night, Cora traced the words. Who had he underlined them for? A ghost? A dream? Or was the monster capable of longing? She slammed the drawer shut. Heard his boots on the porch. Didn't turn around. Felt his gaze on her neck. Heavy. Hot. Then gone. The first snow fell in November. Thin, gritty flakes that melted on the hot stovepipe. Cora stood at the window, Lila on her hip, watching the men struggle to mend a fence against the wind. Silas was out there, shirtless despite the cold, muscles rippling as he drove a post into frozen ground. One of the men, the one with the scarred lip, Jed, stumbled, cursed, kicked the post. Silas didn't shout. Didn't move fast. Just walked over, grabbed Jed by the throat, and slammed him against the barn wall. The crack of Jed's head hitting wood echoed across the yard. Silas held him there, inches from his face, whispering something Cora couldn't hear. Jed went pale. Nodded frantically. Silas dropped him. Walked away. Like it was nothing. Cora's breath fogged the glass. That could be her. One wrong word. One misstep. He'd break her like dry kindling. Lila cooed, patting the glass. Cora turned away. Rocked her. Sang softly. Hush now, don't you cry, the song felt like a lie. Christmas Eve. Snow deep and silent. Silas didn't believe in holidays. But that night, he came to her door holding a small, rough-hewn cradle. Carved from pine. Smooth where his hands had sanded it. He set it down by the bed. Didn't speak. Just looked at Lila, asleep in Cora's arms. His face, softer. Almost gentle. For a heartbeat. Then the mask slammed back down. Sleep, he muttered, and left. Cora ran her fingers over the cradle's edge. Felt the care in the curves. The hours it must have taken. Why? Why this kindness? Was it guilt? Pity? Or something worse, a chain disguised as a gift? She laid Lila in the cradle. The baby sighed, snuggling into the clean straw. Cora sat on the floor beside it, watching the moonlight strike the walls. For the first time since the auction block, she didn't feel cold. Didn't feel hollow. Felt, seen. And that terrified her more than any threat. Because hope was a luxury she couldn't afford. Hope got you killed. Spring came hard and dry. The creek ran low. Tempers ran lower. Jed watched her now. Not with fear. With hunger. His eyes lingered on her hips, her throat, when Silas wasn't looking. Cora kept Lila close. Kept a knife under her pillow. One afternoon, while Silas was miles away checking fences, Jed cornered her in the pantry. Smelled of whiskey and sour sweat. Pretty thing, he slurred, backing her against the flour sacks. Boss don't know what he's got. Wasting it on a brat. His hand grabbed her wrist. Hard. Cora didn't scream. Didn't beg. She drove her knee up. Felt it connect. Jed gasped, doubled over. She grabbed a sack of salt, swung it like a club. Hit him square in the temple. He went down like a felled steer. She stood over him, panting, the knife in her hand now. Could finish him. Should finish him. One cut. Quick. Clean. Lila's future, safe. Her own freedom, closer. She raised the blade. Heard hoofbeats. Fast. Closer. Silas. She dropped the knife. Kicked Jed's prone form. Help, she yelled, voice cracking. He attacked me. Silas burst in, gun drawn. Saw Jed groaning on the floor. Saw Cora trembling, flour dusting her hair like ghostly tears. Saw the knife glinting near Jed's head. His eyes met hers. Cold. Calculating. He holstered his gun. Dragged Jed up by the collar. You touch her again, Silas said, his voice quieter than a grave, I'll peel the skin off your bones while you watch. He threw Jed out the door. Didn't look at Cora. Didn't ask if she was hurt. Just walked away. That night, he brought her a new knife. Sharper. Better balanced. Set it on the table. Keep it close, he said. Then he left. No lock on the door that night. None ever again. Cora picked up the knife. Felt its weight. Its purpose. He knew. He'd always known she'd try to kill him. And he'd just handed her the means. Was it a challenge? A dare? Or, an invitation? The baby slept. The knife gleamed in the firelight. Cora didn't sleep at all. Summer burned the land brown. The men grew restless. Whiskey ran low. Fights broke out over cards, over chores, over nothing. Silas handled them with fists or his gun, quick and brutal. Cora kept to the house. Kept Lila singing. Kept the knife hidden in her apron. One scorching afternoon, a stranger rode in. Dust-coated. Weary. Asked for water. Silas gave it. Listened as the man talked of a gold strike up north. Of easy money. Of a fresh start. Silas's eyes never left the man's face. But Cora saw it, the flicker. The hunger. The same look Jed had given her. That night, Silas came to her room. Not to lock her in. To talk. We're leaving, he said. North. To the gold fields. Sell the ranch. Start over. He looked at Lila, playing with a wooden horse on the floor. All of us. Cora's heart stopped. Why? She whispered. He met her eyes. Really met them. For the first time. Because this place, it's poison. For you. For her. He paused. Swallowed. For me. He turned to go. Pack light. We leave at dawn. Cora stood frozen. North. Away. Freedom. Or just a different cage. And why now? What had changed? What had he seen? What had he decided? The knife felt heavy against her thigh. They left before the sun rose. 3 wagons. Silas, Cora, Lila in the lead. Jed and 2 other men trailing, surly, hungover. The land rolled out before them, empty, vast, beautiful in its cruelty. Cora held Lila, breathing in the scent of sage and dust. Free. They were free. Silas drove, his shoulders tense, eyes scanning the horizon. Not for beauty. For danger. Cora watched him. Really watched. The way his jaw clenched when the wagon hit a rut. The way his hand rested near his gun when a hawk circled overhead. The way he glanced back at her and Lila every few minutes. Like he was counting breaths. Like he was afraid. Afraid of what? The desert? The men behind them? Or her? She touched the knife in her apron. Tonight. She'd do it tonight. While he slept. One thrust. Quick. Clean. For Lila. For herself. For the woman bleeding on the auction block. Justice. Vengeance. Freedom. The wagon wheels groaned. The sun climbed. And Cora planned her murder. They camped in a shallow canyon as the sun dipped below the rim. Silas built a fire. Jed and the others drank, voices loud, angry. Cora fed Lila, humming softly. Waiting. Silas handed her a plate of beans. Their fingers brushed. He didn't pull away. Held her gaze. Eat, he said. Soft. Almost tender. She looked down. Couldn't bear it. Couldn't bear the kindness. It made the knife heavier. Made the blood she was about to spill hotter. After supper, Silas took first watch. Sat on a rock, back to the fire, staring into the dark. Cora laid Lila down in the wagon. Kissed her forehead. Whispered, "Sleep, my heart. Mama will make it right." She pulled the knife from her apron. Cold steel. Familiar weight. She walked toward Silas. Quiet as shadow. He didn't turn. Didn't hear her. Or maybe he did. Maybe he was waiting. She raised the knife. Aimed for the base of his skull. Where it would be quick. Painless. She took a breath. Stepped closer. The fire crackled. A coyote howled. Far off. Lonely. She froze. Saw his shoulders slump. Just a little. Saw his head bow. Not in sleep. In sorrow. Regret. What was he thinking? What ghosts was he wrestling? Her hand trembled. The knife tip wavered. One thrust. Do it. Do it. Her arm wouldn't move. Couldn't move. Not while he looked so human. So broken. So much like her. She lowered the knife. Turned away. Walked back to the wagon. Sat in the shadows, knife across her knees, tears hot and silent on her cheeks. Failure. Weakness. Stupid, sentimental fool. He deserved to die. He'd bought her like cattle. Locked her away. Owned her. And she couldn't do it. Because of a slumped shoulder. A bowed head. Because he'd carved a cradle. She hated herself. Hated him. Hated the desert, the stars, the whole damn world. Lila stirred in her sleep. Sighed. Cora wiped her face. Stood up. Would try again tomorrow. Or the next day. She wouldn't fail twice. She slipped the knife back into her apron. Turned. And froze. Jed stood 10 feet away. Smiling. A bottle in one hand. A gun in the other. Pointed at her. Saw you, he whispered, voice thick with triumph. Saw you try to kill him. Knew you had the guts. He took a step closer. Help me kill him tonight. While he sleeps. Split his gold. Split his woman. He leered. You and me, Cora. We'll be rich. Free. He raised the gun. Not at her. At the back of Silas's head. Say the word. Or I'll put a bullet in your brat first. Cora didn't think. Didn't breathe. Didn't feel the knife in her apron. She felt only Lila's sleeping face. Felt the auction block under her bare feet. Felt Silas's hand on her waist, lingering. Felt the cradle, smooth under her fingers. She moved. Fast. Silent. Not toward Jed. Toward Silas. She threw herself between them. Shoved Silas hard. Down, she screamed. The gunshot cracked the night. Loud. Final. Silas hit the ground. Cora spun. Saw Jed's shocked face. Saw the smoke curling from his gun barrel. Saw the second shot coming. She didn't have time for the knife. Didn't have time for anything but instinct. She lunged. Not at Jed. At his gun hand. Slammed into it. Felt the barrel wrench sideways. Heard the second shot scream into the rocks above them. Jed roared, swinging the gun like a club. Hit her shoulder. Pain exploded. White. Blinding. She fell. Saw Silas rise like a demon from hell, gun already in his hand. Saw Jed's eyes widen. Saw the flash. The boom. Saw Jed's head snap back. Saw him drop. Like a sack of grain. Silent. Still. Silas stood over Jed's body, breathing hard, gun smoking. He turned. Looked at Cora, crumpled on the ground, clutching her shoulder. Looked at the knife that had fallen from her apron, glinting in the firelight. Looked at Lila, wailing in the wagon. He walked to Cora. Didn't offer a hand. Didn't speak. Just knelt beside her. Pulled a bandana from his pocket. Pressed it hard against her bleeding shoulder. His hands were steady. His face, unreadable. Why? He asked. Quiet. Raw. Cora looked up at him. Tears streaked the dust on her cheeks. He was going to shoot Lila, she whispered. He said, he'd shoot her first. Silas's jaw clenched. A muscle jumped in his temple. He tied the bandana tight. Stood up. Walked to the wagon. Picked up Lila, screaming, terrified. Held her close. Rocked her. Hummed a tuneless song. Cora watched him. Saw the way his arms trembled. Saw the way he pressed his lips to Lila's hair. Saw the tears tracking through the grime on his own face. He looked at her then. Really looked. And she saw it. The truth. The thing he'd carried since the auction block. Since before. The thing that had bought her. The thing that had carved the cradle. The thing that had just saved her life. I wasn't gonna kill you, he said, voice rough as gravel. Not ever. He turned away. Carried Lila back to the fire. Sat down. Held her. Didn't look at Cora again. Didn't look at Jed's body. Just stared into the flames. Like a man staring into his own soul. And finding it wanting. They buried Jed at dawn. Silas dug the grave himself. Deep. Silent. Cora stood beside Lila, her shoulder throbbing, her heart a raw, open wound. They didn't speak. Not as they loaded the wagons. Not as they drove away from the canyon, leaving the fresh mound of earth behind. The desert stretched ahead. Empty. Endless. The gold fields waited. Or maybe they didn't. Maybe nothing waited. Just dust. Just silence. Just the weight of what had been done. And what hadn't. Cora touched her bandaged shoulder. Felt the ache. Felt the ghost of the knife in her hand. Felt the ghost of the bullet meant for her child. She looked at Silas, driving, his back rigid, his eyes fixed on the horizon. He'd saved them. She'd saved him. What did that make them? Partners? Prisoners? Something worse? Something, almost human. Lila slept in her lap, thumb in her mouth, trusting. Oblivious. Cora kissed her head. Whispered a promise. I'll keep you safe. No matter what. She looked at Silas's back. At the scar on his neck, pale against his sun-browned skin. At the way his hand rested, not on his gun, but on the wagon seat beside him. Empty. Open. Waiting. For what? Forgiveness? A knife? Or just, her? The wagon rolled on. The sun rose higher. The desert swallowed their tracks. And Cora Bellwether, bought for $30 while bleeding on an auction block, held her daughter close, and wondered what price she'd have to pay for the fragile, terrifying thing growing in her chest. Not hatred. Not fear. Something warmer. Something wilder. Something that felt, against all reason, like the first green shoot after a long, hard winter. And she didn't know whether to nurture it, or bury it before it got them all killed. The wind picked up. Carried the scent of sage and distant rain. Or maybe just dust. Always dust. Silas didn't speak. Didn't look back. But his hand stayed right there. On the seat. Close enough to touch. Cora didn't move. Didn't breathe. Just watched the horizon. And waited. For the storm. For the bullet. For the moment her heart would finally break. Or finally heal. She wasn't sure which would hurt worse. The baby sighed in her sleep. Silas's fingers twitched. Just once. Like he felt it too. The thing between them. Fragile. Dangerous. Alive. The wagon rolled on. Into the sun. Into the silence. Into whatever came next. And Cora Bellwether closed her eyes. And let herself hope. Just for a second. Just long enough to taste it. Sweet. Bitter. Real. Then she opened them. Gripped the knife in her apron. And kept on driving. Because in the West, hope was just another kind of bullet. And someone always pulled the trigger.